Okay, so today we are going to cover some topics of pediatric neurology, and the first topic is cerebral malaria. So, what are the important points that you need to remember about the topic of cerebral malaria? Number one, the child will present with unarousable state or coma state for more than 6 hours. There will be focal or generalized fits. There will be a posture that will be opistotonic, decerbate, decorticate, and there will be a conjugate deviation of eyes plus retinal hemorrhages. There can be oliguria and deranged LFTs, and there will be hepatosplenomegaly, but there will be no neck stiffness because there is no meningitis in this case. So cerebral malaria presents with unarousable or coma state, and there will be focal or generalized fits. Posture will be opistotonic, decerbate, decorticate. There will be conjugate deviation of eyes plus retinal hemorrhages, oliguria, deranged LFTs, hepatosplenomegaly without neck stiffness. Now, what are the important investigations that you're going to be ordering for identifying a case of cerebral malaria? Number one, microscopic. Microscopy will be done of peripheral blood smear, and it will be examined via thick and thin smear using Romanowski stain, and it's also called as Giemsa stain. And one method is this to identify the organism of malaria, that is Plasmodium falciparum or any other type, but mostly Plasmodium falciparum causes cerebral malaria. So other type of test or microscopy is quantitative Buffy coat analysis followed by fluorescence microscopy, and it is considered more sensitive as compared to peripheral smear examination. So peripheral smear examination using thick and thin smears, and quantitative Buffy coat analysis followed by fluorescence microscopy. These are the two important microscopic tests for identifying the organism responsible for cerebral malaria. Second one is the serological investigation, in which we identify the antibodies against the organism, and we use immune fluorescence assay as well as ELISA, and these are the rapid diagnostic tests, and these can identify the organism. So IFA and ELISA are the two important investigations to identify antibodies against the organism. Then we have certain molecular methods to identify the genome or the DNA of the organism using PCR, and we have certain other blood examinations including CBC, ESR, CRP, urea electrolytes, RFTs, LFTs, coagulation profile, and glucose levels to identify the burden of the disease or the effect of the disease on the other organs like kidneys, like liver, etc. Then you can do neuroimaging to identify any focal lesion or any space occupying lesion, right? So microscopic, serology, molecular methods, blood examination, and neuroimaging, these are the important investigations which can be done for cerebral malaria. Now, what are the treatment options that are available for treating a case of cerebral malaria? Number one, there will be a supportive therapy, and then there will be a specific therapy. What will be the supportive therapy? It will include maintaining the airway, and we can also intubate the child if he is unconscious or if he is in a coma state, and we'll do vital sign monitoring, fluid therapy, electrolyte and acid base balance will be maintained, input output charting, and avoid any harmful ancillary treatment, for example steroids, heparin, and adrenaline. So these are the drugs which should be avoided in these patients. So maintaining airway, vital monitoring, fluid therapy, electrolyte and acid base balance, input output charting, and avoiding harmful ancillary treatment like steroids, heparin, and adrenaline. Now, what is the specific treatment for cerebral malaria? These include anti-malarial drugs which are administered, and these include artesunate, artemether, and quinine. So first of all, you will start with artesunate, then you will give artemether, and at the end result will be quinines. So a treatment of choice is artesunate, and quinine is given at admission followed by ECG monitoring because it has a disadvantage of or side effects on the heart function. So you will give quinines along with doing the ECG monitoring, and also consider clindamycin if the child is less than 8 years of age, and doxycycline or tetracycline if the child is more than 8 years of age. So in these two age groups, we can give additional antibiotic therapy along with anti-malarial therapy. So the DDs for cerebral malaria includes febrile fits, pyogenic meningitis, viral encephalitis, and hepatic coma. So these are the important treatment options: the supportive therapy, the specific therapy in the form of antimalarials, and antibiotics. So yeah, that was all about cerebral malaria. I hope it was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching.